What is up, everybody? It is Friday night, and we are back. Tony Cotillo here. Tony Cotillo Show, the alternative edge, where fantasy insights meet betting value. It's all about value on this show. Consistent value. It's all about value. I've said it numerous times. Get involved in the conversation as always. The listen, comment board is open. Mailbag board is open. We're taking the mailbag questions. We continue to take the mailbag questions. Hop in the free Discord as well. We'll put this up on the screen. Like I say always, man, the Discord, hop in a free Discord where we talk some bets, we talk fantasy, take questions, you name it. I'm excited for week 2 because now we finally have a little bit of, a little bit of insight into kind of what's going on a little bit. Make sure you like and subscribe as always on the Tony Cotillo Show on YouTube. Again, man, all the support is fantastic. And tonight, first time ever, I will take calls. So if you would like to jump in the conversation, again, all you need to do is have a phone, and I will put the link right here. It is a call in link. You just click on the link on your phone, and boom, guess what? All we need is the audio. Okay, you'll be connected audio only. Again, any questions you have, what's your struggle for week 2? What's your best bets? Who's your best value? DFS, season long fantasy, or was it? Listen, there was a lot of I would say big time stories, so to speak. I think I would say in this week, not a lot necessarily on a waiver wire, but based on listen what happened, right? Based on what happened, I think that's one of the biggest things is, and always I forgot as always our partners over there at BetQL. So make sure you get over there if you're interested in BetQL. You can use the promo code Jigsaw. Get 15% off any monthly subscription of 2 or more sports, as well as 50% off a 1 sport annual pass. Okay, and I will show that to you later. A lot of information over there at BetQL that you can get in, and again, a lot just all one spot. That's what I like about it. Everything in one spot. Again, that is the best part about it. So again, everybody check it in. Let me know. We're gonna get like we do. We're gonna talk about best bets. We got a couple big time parlays and obviously the single bets we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna give you I have 3 players who I think have a lot of DFS value, so to speak. And again, when you talk about I say this all the time, and I think everybody's getting used to me on here, which is great. And I love every minute of it because we're really rolling a little bit right now. We're really rolling. And I don't want to give you the players that we all know are going to break out, even though the people that said, hey, Jamar Chase is going to break out. Guess what? I don't know if they were really right, right? I was calling a Chase Brown show for that day, and it was a Chase Brown show. Joe B isn't going to always just throw for 113 yards every week, but I get it. I think it is something that you really have to look at and you have to decipher. Okay, you really do. So let's get right into let's go some DFS value, shall we? Let's talk to DFS value. I will go game by game as we go into here. So if you have any questions about any game specific players, let me know. It's something we used to do on Sirius that I kind of dig a little bit, but I liked it better if I was doing it myself and not with some of the people I were doing it with because it was just easier to do it by myself. So I think one of the biggest things we could do is go through that game by game, pick out some of the best plays. It's going to give you the DFS value, what the numbers are, and then you can attribute that to your actual season-long fantasy team, or you can attribute it to your best bets as well. So again, get live in a discussion. If you want to hop in, you want to give a call in, very simple, man. There it is. It's very simple. You want to get called in, that's all you got to do. You just click on that link, man. You click on that link on your phone, and I will get you on. It is no different than calling in a national radio station, okay? Except I'm not national. Actually, I guess we're national digital, right? Because everybody everybody can see us all over, right? I mean, I assume that's what we're calling it nowadays, right? I assume. But let's get right into the Trey Benson effect. I want to talk about the Trey Benson effect because I, I came into this year and I said, look, I said, Trey Benson offers some really good fantasy appeal. And everybody was like, why? Right? Everybody's like, why? Why is Trey Benson offer so much appeal? Well, I love James Conner. Okay. I really do. I love James Conner. But the only thing about James Conner is he's obviously getting up there and he's one of those warriors that continues, right? He just continues to produce. Last year, I thought was a year of Trey Benson. And it didn't happen. However, he got stronger. He got more acclimated to the offense, and you saw him break out a little bit. Okay, you saw him break out a little bit in week 1. And when I say breakout, I'm not saying he scored a bunch of points. Okay, but whenever I say breakout to everybody, it's breakout the eye test to me. Okay, it's breakout the eye test. And watching what he did on the work that he had, I think was the most important thing to me. Okay. It was the most important thing. He had that 52-yard run. Okay. That really showed his explosiveness. Okay. We all know as a rookie, especially at the running back, I hate to sound repetitive, but I think we all know if you could stay on the field, that means number one, you know the playbook. Means number two, you pick up the blitz. Number three, you don't fumble. That's how you're going to get on the field as a rookie when you're talking about a running back. And I think he last year it just wasn't right. Okay, it just wasn't right. Okay, so I look at him and say he had 75 yards in week 1, but he had 8 combined carries. And I think going up against the Carolina Panthers, who have shown that they stink. Okay. They gave up 143 yards to ETN, which is probably why Tank Bigsby got traded. Okay. So when you look at that perspective, you go, okay, who is the guy who steps up this week? And again, the reason why I like this and I like the Trey Benson play is because this game could get out of hand. This game could get out of hand. And if it gets out of hand, it's at home in Arizona. Listen, Bryce Young did not look good last week, man. I'm being honest. He just did not look good. So, again, I like 4,600 for an RB2. I know he's an RB2, but we could really, based on the game script, you could see possibly 65-35, even possibly a 60-40 split in this game between Benson and Connor. And I think that Benson will really produce, man. I do. I think he'll produce for that $4,600 or the $4,600 price tag in DFS. Listen, all you do, if he gets you 10 to 13 touches, even if he doesn't score, okay, even if he doesn't score, if he continues to run like he did last week, he's going to give you a good double digit point total. He just is, and that's going to be good for 4,600. Now, we're going to go flip the script a little bit, go even lower on a DFS value, and talk about Alamada. I always say his first name wrong. Alamada. I think it's Alamada, right? He played in Philly, and every time I talked about him, I got it wrong. But I used to call him Oz. Okay. So Mr. Zacchaeus, he was our AEVP for the game on Monday Night Football. He was the AEVP, or I should say Sunday Night Football. He was the AEVP. Okay. And, we knew that at his price tag, he was going to produce, and he did. He did. He produced at that price tag. And when you get an AEVP, an alternative edge value play at a very, very low number, so now you're not scrambling and then you still stack your big guns that can cash tickets. And I like him again this week. Listen, this game, it's going to be all about Ben Johnson, right? Going back to Detroit. I get it. It's all, but that offense didn't look great. It didn't. However, Caleb Williams showed that he was looking for Mr. Zacchaeus. And there was probably at least 3 to 4 plays because I watched the entire game. There was probably at least 3 to 4 plays in that game that could have went on the positive side for Zacchaeus and made his numbers even higher. Okay. Honestly, it could have made his numbers even higher. And I think that's important because you have to look at all of that. And I know everybody's going to be on the Odunze wagon, but I'm not right now. I am looking at major value right? Major value based on price point. And 7 targets, so he gets the volume. He gets the volume. 2 of those 7, okay? 2 of those 7, he should have caught, okay? But they weren't given to him in the proper area. So if he would have got that, you're looking at a probably instead of a 4-42, you're probably looking more at like a 6 for 78. Okay, and that's a 95% catch to target or target to catch ratio, which I'm all in. I'm all in. Sign me up all day for $3,600. I am all in. And this game, I think, again, this game, that defense for Chicago did not look great. It didn't. So, especially at the back end. So I specifically think that this could be a really, really good game for Zacchaeus. And we talked about here's the insight again to why you really need to be following everything. Okay. And that is talked about this in the all season that Ben Johnson loves that number 3 receiver. He loves the number 3 receiver. And what is the case? He is the number 3 receiver. And we're watching it play out. He's going to be targeted a lot in this offense. He just is. Okay. And Ben Johnson likes to do a lot of gadget plays, a lot of different schemes. And a lot of that is surrounded around the wide receiver 3. We saw that when he was in Detroit. I talked about it. How many Khalif Raymonds, how many Josh Reynolds, right? How many Tim Patricks? They were all there. They were all there. Okay, so again, Zacchaeus is that guy. And for 3,600 in a game that I think is going to have some fireworks in it, again, another value. Let's go to an even deeper value, which this might be my favorite value on the board. It honestly might. It might be my favorite value on the board. Now, I know everybody jumped on the Fannin Jr. wagon because why not, right? I mean, listen, he had a fantastic game. I think the biggest thing for Browns fans is the concerning thing is that David Njoku looked like he was running through quicksand. He looked like he was running through quicksand. He looked like very slow. He looked very out of shape. Okay. And I've seen some sites that are talking about, maybe you should fade him and you shouldn't play him. 7 for 63 was his line against the Bengals. Okay. And he actually got, I think, 1 or 2 touches out of the backfield, too. You look at this guy and he's that new hybrid. Okay. I've talked about this. When you get those hybrid tight ends that you can utilize them in very certain areas, especially with a really good play caller in Kevin Stefanski, and then you're going through, listen, the old age home for your quarterback situation, you already know the tight end is going to be that more important, right? He had 9 targets over Njoku's 6. 7-3 when it comes to receptions. Okay. Yards 63 to 37. Why all of a sudden, honestly, why all of a sudden is that going to change? I know the cliche will always be, well, it's a veteran quarterback and he's going to make he's going to make it a point of emphasis in this week to really get Njoku involved. I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think Njoku just did not look good, right? Njoku just looked slow. Njoku just looked like he wasn't moving with the same energy that we saw all last year, that athleticism. And here comes this rookie and Harold Fannin Jr., and he just starts taking over. So what else are you going to do? You have Cedric Tillman and nobody else. So even if, here's what I love. Okay. Here, and don't even give me the Jerry Jeudy factor. Here's what I love. Think about this a little bit down the road. Even if Njoku comes back and looks like the David Njoku that we know and love, that doesn't mean that Hannon Jr. is going to go away. It'd be different if this team wasn't wide receiver starved, but it is. So again, when you have a guy like him, what's up, Foods checking in? When you have a guy like Kevin Stefanski, he's going to find ways. He's going to find wrinkles. He's going to understand. So that's what I love about this. Okay. that he's not going away. So if you picked him up in your waivers, all power to you. Like I put in for him. I got him in a couple leagues. I put in for Dylan Sampson, and I know I still think Sampson will be a part of this offense. I do. From a pass catching perspective, he looked that good, right? You have to look at that. You have to look at that. Oh man. So here, first question of the night, and it's a doozy because JD, I'm in the same boat here, man. It's a mystery, and he brings up the Kenneth Walker mystery. I man, I don't get it. Sometimes there's just these games, and it makes you scratch your head, but it's hard to scratch your head from the running back situation. Like it's easier if it's a receiver. You could say they were in blocking duty, or maybe they had over the top coverage. Maybe the team just defensively, they just said, we're gonna, like Philadelphia, like we're just gonna swarm AJ Brown. You have to beat us a different way. That's not the case in this game. And, I I'm a big Clint Kubiak guy. And I thought I nailed this. Like when we were talking about Kenneth Walker, and it wasn't just me. I mean, listen, it's a lot of people, right? A lot of people are scratching their heads, but we thought that we nailed this. That man, you got to be all in, right? But ten rushes for 20 yards. I mean, and I know that you could say, look, he caught three balls, and but early on, it was a Zach Charbonnet show. And I don't get into touchdowns because again, I don't go by touchdowns. I never do. They're a premium to me. They're a bonus. But it just seemed like the offense looked better with Zach Charbonnet. That scares me. And again, I have no information. I have no insight. I'm not giving you analysis. Listen, anybody can look up snap counts and play. I get all that. Like, I'm not going to bore you to death with any of that shit. What I'm saying is just looking at the offense flow, it looked better with Charbonnet. I don't know why. I can't explain it. And I will tell you that if this could easily, with this team, with the new offense, you have Darnold out there now, right? You have another, there's no more DK Metcalf. You got another year of growth of JSN. You're trying to get Cooper Kupp involved, who was not involved at all. Okay, like I think they're working through some things, and my fear is if Charbonnet works, they may stick with him. I don't know. I don't have the answers, JD. I wish I did. It scares the hell out of me though. And I'd scare the hell out of a lot of owners that are in and were in and still been in on Kenneth Walker. So that's going to be a good one. Again, everybody like the stream, like and subscribe as always. Again, phone lines are open. If anybody wants to call on the show, it's in the comments. It's very, very simple. Again, I don't say this cocky. I just say confidently. I do. I had the show with the most callers at night when I was on Sirius, and I enjoyed it. And it was nice that a lot of those callers became customers. And then when I went to other outfits, they kind of followed me, and then they became followers, and a couple of them became really good friends. Right. So I love it, man. I love it. So phone line is open if you have any fantasy related questions. If not, just continue to comment, like and subscribe. You got any questions? Obviously, let me know. And again, hop into the free Discord. Very, very simple. Click on the link. There is no catch. It is free. There's about I don't know how many people are in there right now, but it's very new. Just building. I think there might be 17 or 20 people in there right now. A lot of got not just me. I know my man Javon will check in. He'll drop some bets. Japan jumps in. He drops some bets. I'll throw some bets in there. And then whatever promos I have that I can help anybody out with, I'll do that as well. Food says Charbonnet has a lot of upside since and he looked good. Foods, he looked really, really, really good. He did. He looked really, 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 really good. And again, don't forget our partners over there at BetQL. Again, if you betql.com, you know, Jigsaw code 50% off your monthly subscription of two or more sports, or 50% off your annual subscription. And again, you know, when you go to BetQL, what I will say is everything's in one spot. Everything's in one spot, which is very, very nice. And you'll see that. Actually, I can share real fast right now so you get a get a kind of an idea um again of what I'm talking about, because you know we could just look at this real fast. Um, there you go. I gotta flip the screen a little bit. But yeah, I mean, everything in here is all in one spot. Like you go to the Giants to Cowboys game, so they give you what star it is, and you know from what their models are, the over and under, you know where you want to bet it, take you right to it. And then what I like is shows you where the sharp money's coming in, gives you the sharp better report. It's going to give you the projected score, what they're looking at, the team grades, and then it gives you all the player props, the best ones that they've found, what book they're at, and what their projections are. Right? Do they make look? Here's a 5-star. Do we think that Russell Wilson under 19 and a half passing completions? He looked like complete dog shit, right? So that does look like a good play to me, right? And it's almost plus money, minus 102, which means if you shop around at other books, you could probably get it, right? At a plus money bet. So again, that's what you get when you sign up for BetQL. You have all the games up here, which is listed, which is actually really, really, really nice. So again, go check them out as well. Let's get into some bets. Gave you the DFS, so let's get into some bets, right? Let's get into we almost hit this last week. We were one leg off on both of our parlays, okay, for the running backs and the receivers. We were one leg off for both of our parlays. So I like to usually do a quarterback parlay, and I like to do a running back parlay. 3 legs. I bet the individual bets. Like I tell you guys all the time, make sure you bet the individual bets, or go round robin it, whatever you can do to make sure that you do get some value back and you're not just blanket betting. I say it all the time. You don't want to just blanket bet, right? So I always look at the games that say to me are popping off. Games that there's going to be a lot of points scored, not just because of the over and under, but because of the game scenario, right? Looking at it. So let's start right off with Lamar Jackson. I want to take again, he's playing Cleveland for Christ's sake, right? Cleveland right now, they got a lot to be desired. They have to figure themselves out. They have to figure out what their identity is and who's going to lead them. There's no way Joe Flacco is going to last past week 5. Okay, it's just not going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be Dylan Gabriel or whatever, but somebody's going to be that quarterback in week 5. However, right now, you know, besides Myles Garrett and a couple other people on that defense, I'm not feeling them. So I look at what Lamar Jackson, even though they lost, he did look good against Buffalo. Obviously used the hell out of Zay Flowers, which you'll see why I'm in on Zay Flowers later on. But and I get it, right? Like a lot of people are going to say to me, "Oh, well, did you not see that Joe Burrow only had, you know, he only had 113 yards passing?" And you know, listen, I don't care about that. Like, give me statistics after the 4th week. All right, week 1 is rust. Week 2, a little more rust. Right, week 3, a little less, and then a little less in week 4. Right. So until we get to that point and get a really good sample size, one game is not going to cut it. One game is not going to cut it for me. Okay. And again, Joe B is not Lamar Jackson. One thing about Joe B is he's more like a statue in a pocket. He will run from time to time, but he's not going to run a lot. And he's not very fast. Lamar Jackson will be able to get out of the pocket and run around and make things happen more than what Joe Burrow did. So that's why I like the over 1.5 touchdowns right there. And then we're going to go to Detroit. We talked about this game. It's coming home for Ben Johnson, right? You know, Jared Goff, even though everybody knows or follows me, I'm not a Jared Goff guy. Okay. I'll never be a Jared Goff guy. But again, Jared Goff plays extremely well at home. And if JJ McCarthy can slice up the defense of the Chicago Bears that is hurting right now in the secondary, they're depleted, man. They're depleted. What do you think is going to happen here with Amon Ra? What do you think's gonna happen here with JMO? Right? Like if he can't throw two touchdowns against this team, then there's an absolute problem. I don't care what his attempts are. I'm just talking about touchdowns. Okay. I am just talking about touchdowns. So again, we shall see what happens, but I think this is going to be at least a 4 to 5 touchdown game for the Detroit Lions, and they're all not going to be running. At least two of these have to be through the air, in my opinion. I think one of them is a bomb to JMO. We'll see. Again, he averaged 17 to 18 yards per catch last year. Got the big extension. We're waiting for him to really stretch, right? We're waiting for them to really stretch. And just remember the last time JMO faced the Chicago Bears, he gave him a nice 143 and a touchdown line. So I again, that's one for Jared Goff. And then let's look at this is an interesting one for me. I usually don't because I am not a Kyler Murray guy. I'm just not. But this is total game flow against a team that I saw that looked lifeless, a team that to me says, "Wow, they got a lot to work on." I thought they were a little bit above what they showed us, okay? So, looking at that Carolina team, listen, listen, there's going to be some bad games at Carolina. There's going to be some bad games at Carolina. I think we know that, right? I think it's very, very simple. So knowing that, I have to go with Kyler Murray to me. I think it's a big game for Kyler Murray. Big game for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think big game for backups like Trey Benson. I like this as a whole, and I do trust that even though I don't like him that much, that Gannon's going to keep Bryce Young on his toes a little bit, transforming coverages, flipping them around, running a lot of stunts, different blitzes from different areas. I think it's going to be a long day again for Mr. Bryce Young. So Kyler Murray to me, the best thing about him, even though I did it again, I'm not a huge guy, okay, a huge fan of Kyler Murray, but he did get 2 touchdowns last week, and he did complete 72% of his passes. That's a big deal. Okay, that's a big deal. So again, and I told you about Marvin Harrison Jr. How many people listen to Marvin Harrison Jr.? Get in on Marvin Harrison Jr., right? 5 for 71 and a touchdown on 6 targets, man. He was right there. So a very, very balanced supporting cast right now for Kyler Murray this year against a Panthers defense that just again, they're out to me. They're out. So again, bet all three. Make sure you get the single bets in. I think it's very important. I continue to tell people it's very important, but I have a good feeling about this one for sure. Definitely have a good feeling about this one for sure. Now, we got two more parlays that we'll touch on in a minute, but it's around a 30-minute segment right now. And I want to go into more of a game by game breakdown of players that I really like that I'm looking at, different game scripts, different game flows, things of that nature. Again, make sure you get involved into the program, whether it be on YouTube, if you're on X, but hop over to the YouTube show, get into YouTube because sometimes like on Facebook, on X, I don't get all the comments, I don't see them. It's a mess, right? It's a mess. But again, any questions you have, let me know. Anything that you're contemplating. Who did you pick up this week? Who was that guy on the waiver wire that you were like, I had to get. I'm glad I got him, right? I want to know. Let's talk about it. And again, phone lines are open. So phone lines are open. If you want to get on it, hop on a line, I give you the link. You click on it, give me a call, and he starts his questions. I got any DFS value questions, anything. I am an open book tonight, baby. I am an open book tonight. All right, let's go down. We talked about the Browns and Ravens. So let's look at this New England and Miami game. Over and under 43 and a half. Again, weather looks like it's going to be good. 86 degrees. I I just look at this Dolphins team and I hate to say I told you so. I'm going to say it though. I told you so because this is a team that just has, in my opinion, lost respect and completely checked out for their coach. I think we all know it. But again, the thing that kills me is, and I'll never understand. Like, I'll never get past this. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I'll never get past it. Now, I talked about this a month ago. If you follow me on TikTok, you'll see some shorts I did about it. That I was out on the Miami Dolphins. I just think that that team gave up already for the season even start. Now all the national media are talking about it, right? Because they saw it play out. I was looking at it before it played out. So I want to continue to be on that wagon to say, I don't know what's happening out there in Miami, but it's not good. Okay. It's not good. And I really trust what's going on out there in New England. Yeah, I do. I'm a big Mike Vrabel guy. I think he's going to turn that ship out there, brings in that offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels, which I think was a great move. So looking at Miami, the only guy I am ever going to be in on right now is Devon A. Chain, because I just think that he, no matter what, is going to get some kind of touches and offensive schematics that are built around what makes him strong, which is the passing game. And that's it. So they already showed you that even with behind, they were in on A-Chain to make him a viable plan. My man Japan checking in. What's up, Japan? Let's go, brother. Let's go. Stephon Diggs, he says he's dropping over 39 and a half yards. I like that number. I do. I just hope that he's recovered. Listen, I think the biggest thing with Stephon Diggs, and I remember telling everybody before and say it again, when you're over the age of, whether you're close to 30 or over the age of 30, you start breaking down with those knees and you got to come back. It's harder and harder. I think he came back a little too soon, but he wanted to be ready for the season. So I think he's more out there as helping, as I hate the word decoy, so I'm not going to say decoy, but he's definitely giving the opposing team something else to think about, right? He's giving them something else to think about. So, again, I'm not in on Diggs, but that's a low number. So if Japan's in on him, he might have to change my heart, man, because he might have to swing me over the Stephon Diggs, because I'm right at this moment. I'm not a Stephon Diggs guy. I am a Kayshon Boutte guy. I am, man. I'm telling you, I am. I was a Kayshon Boutte lover last year, bro. Like I hit a bunch of props on Kayshon Boutte. Right? I love Pop Douglas, but they're different receivers. Okay, that's the biggest thing. Like, they're different. You have to understand what they do, and they're completely different. They are different receivers, man. So, looking at that again, I think they're both attractive in different ways. But I'm not fading Kayshon Boutte. I'm not. I'm not. He had 8 targets last week, and that wasn't. Listen, that wasn't a figment of your imagination. That's going to continue. He's going to get 6 to 8 targets every game. And Miami, like I said, Miami's defense is atrocious. Their secondary is atrocious. Like, I again, like, this is going to be a week where I think that you watch the New England Patriots put up some points, man. I do. And I think Kayshon Boutte is going to be one of those guys. So I do like Kayshon Boutte to do multiple things in this game against New England. Now let's go to Jacksonville and Cincinnati. Can somebody finally agree with me that Trevor Lawrence stinks? Like, I've been out on T Law for the last 2 years. I get hate mail about it, like, in my DMs. I got my kids ripping me apart about it. Like, why don't you like Trevor Lawrence? Why? Dude, he's not that good. He's not. Like, I'm sorry. He's just an average quarterback to me. He just is. And I'm looking at this game, and I think everybody thinks that it's going to be, again, over 49 and a half. Over under is the line. I think that's more geared towards the Cincinnati Bengals, because they're like, there ain't no way in hell Joe B's only throwing for 113 yards this week, right? And I get it. I'm with you. I am. I'm with you. I think everybody's in play for the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, if you watched, and again, go subscribe, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and go check out some of the things that just aren't these type of shows. I do try to cut little pieces out that really offer some really good insight, in my opinion, as to what I'm thinking. And that one of that is Chase Brown. Like I do think that this offense is starting to be built around Chase Brown at times, and those circumstances are going to hurt some of those big time numbers that you're expecting from the wide receivers. But this week, I like. I do think another value from the tight end is Noah Fant. Like Noah Fant found himself pay dirt. He got in the end zone. And I think that there's going to be multiple opportunities in this game to go double tight end set. And I think that because Noah Fant is very athletic, he always has been. He's more of that hybrid kind of guy. I think this offers him an opportunity in the red zone and then possibly to score. So I do like him a lot, but yeah, you're gonna start Chase, you're gonna start Higgins, you're gonna start like I'm not gonna hear, oh, you gotta check this guy, you gotta check this guy. The other end, Jacksonville, I told you I don't like T Law, Travis Etienne, it's his show right now. So it's gonna be him, BT, but I like Brenton Strange. I like Brenton Strange in this game. I really do. Yeah, again, if you look at what the tight end position did in Mr. Hanning, right? In Hanning Jr., everybody's favorite pickup from Cleveland last week, that you have to be looking at Brenton Strange. So I do, and he's only 3,600. He's only 3,600 in DFS. So I like him a lot. Now, speaking of that, let's get to some more bets. Shall we get to some more bets? Absolutely, right? Let's get to a four-pick parlay. Our boy Drake London ready to go. He had 13 targets from Drake London, bro. Like, again, he may not have caught the one in the end zone. He was targeted twice the end zone. He may not have got it, but again, 13 targets. I drafted him based on tremendous value. He's giving you the value again. He's giving you the value. I mean, I'm sorry, but I drafted him because of volume. He's giving you the volume, and that's going to continue, man. He's going to get double-digit targets most weeks. I'm just telling you, it's going to continue to happen. Okay, so let's get into this parlay a little bit. This is going to be 4 wide receivers. It's a 4-legger, and it's boosted. I took the 30% DraftKings boost. So check that out. Get the 30%. They have a 30 and a 50. I did get both of them, but I used the 50 on another one. That I'll bring up on Sunday probably, or tomorrow in Discord. But this one was a 30% profit boost, and I know Japan. If you're watching, you see your boy right there, Shakir. That's actually a plus money bet right now. It's you can get it anywhere for like plus 125 at some books. Uh, I know everybody's on a Keon Coleman wagon, and I listen. I like what Keon Coleman did, but I still think Shakir is again. You have to remember. Let me also say, understand what Shakir was dealing with. He's still dealing with high ankle sprains are no joke. High ankle sprains continue to linger. They just do. And that high ankle sprain is going to bother Shakir all year. However, however, Shakir is always going to be your PPR volume guy. Like Keon Coleman's not going to listen. Keon Coleman is not going to turn into a guy that's going to get you 10 targets every week. He's just not. He's not. Shakir is going to get you 7 to 10 every week. It's just the positions on the offense and the way they're utilized, right? That's just why. And to get over 4.5 against the Jets, there's gonna be a lot of points scored by the Bills in this game. And to get me over 4.5, get me plus money for Shakir. I am absolutely in on Khalil Shakir over 4.5. Now, can I get can I want to, yeah, you know what, Jigsaw? Good call on Calvin Austin. Did anybody follow my Calvin Austin theory that I laid out in June? Like, seriously, like, please follow and understand the quarterbacks and their tendencies. Like, you could go all the way back to Green Bay, man. Aaron Rodgers is a wide receiver 2 lover. He always has been. Always. And he's always trying to make that wide receiver 2 into a wide receiver 1. And what did you see again in Calvin Austin? Like, yes, this is real. The Calvin Austin love in Pittsburgh by Aaron Rodgers is real. Continue to live it, continue to love it, and continue to bet it. I keep saying that, man. Like this is real. This wasn't a one-hit wonder. It just wasn't. It was not a one-hit wonder. I'm telling you that right now. Okay? He will continue to show out. He will. He will continue to show out. They again, it's a wide receiver too. Aaron Rodgers loves, okay? I'm not saying he's gonna score every week, but he's gonna be heavily involved. Okay, heavily involved. And I will say this too. Here's another thing I want you to look at. DK goes all over the place. You already see Jonnu Smith inserting himself right into the fray. Okay. But the difference is, I saw Aaron Rodgers get hit a bunch of times. Aaron Rodgers does not like getting hit. So, in my opinion, there's going to be two recipients of that because Jonnu Smith is not Pat Fryermuth. Two recipients is going to be Jalen Warren and Calvin Austin. They're going to be the hot reads. They're going to be the quick hitters. That's what they're going to be. I'm telling you right now. I am telling you right now, he's not trusting DK Metcalf. He's just not. He's going to trust Calvin Austin. So I like Calvin Austin again, and Tony knows ball. I try, brother. I try. So the over 3.5, I think, is a great play here. Okay. It is. It is a listen, like I said, you just gotta look at him. You just gotta look at the game script, I should say. And you can go back, you can watch the game last week, and you can kind of see how to utilize. Now he's 4,700 in DraftKings, which I think under $5,000. I do. I think that's a really good number. I do, right? So 70 yards last week. He averaged 17.5 yards per catch. Like this is a legit guy, right? He could stretch the field, he could do a lot of different things. So he was targeted 6 different times, and he caught 4 of them. Okay. So 4 for 70 and a tutty. So do I know if he's going to score every? No, but I think that 4 number, he's gonna be 4 to 5 catches easily every week. So if you continue to get the over 3.5, I think you got to grab it. Right. So that's where we're at right now. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm grabbing. I think it's a really good play. Oh yeah, exactly. You see it. Here we go. Let's talk about him. Brenton Strange, right? Japan says Brenton Strange. Our boy Sia is in on his yardage prop this week. I love it. Let's go. See that? Me and Sia are thinking the same way. Again, the reason why I like this bet is because it works 2 different ways. We've already talked about, that game having a lot of points from Cincinnati. So if you're starting to throw the ball a lot, that's just good for Brenton Strange. Okay. They've already talked about Travis Hunter, maybe, easing off even more of his offensive snaps. Okay. So if that just means more love for Brenton Strange. And again, I just said it. All you had to do was look at what they did with, Cincinnati did on defense last week, or I should say, lack thereof of Harold Fanning Jr. Okay, what do you think Brenton Strange is going to have the ability to do? So I do. I like this play a lot. When I saw it, it popped out to me. I was like, okay, Brenton Strange. This guy was 4 for 4, man. 100% target to catch ratio, 4 targets, 4 receptions, and it went for almost 60 yards. So he averages almost 15 yards per catch. So I know that's why Sia was probably taking the yardage total. I just saw this again. This is another plus money prop. You can get this plus money. Okay. So everybody knows I do the plus money prop train. Okay. So you can get this for plus money. So Brenton Strange, I think, is a huge person on the board this week. And let's finish it up with JMO. So let's finish it up with JMO. I told you about the game script, the way I thought this was going to go. And I expect JMO to at least get 1 bomb. Now, that doesn't help you with his over 3.5. Okay. I understand that. But just looking at the way this game, I think it's going to go, the over the half since the 46.5. I do think Jared Goff is going to be way above that 8.5 yards per throw that he was averaging. Again, it's week 1. Don't get too crazy. Don't get too nuts. But listen, 5 targets for 4 catches JMO had. And one thing, his yards per catch were really down That's because Jared Goff's attempts per throw and yards per throw, they were all down. Yards per attempt, I should say. Everything was down. Um, I'm not expecting that against a Chicago Bears team that was lit up by JJ McCarthy and has a lot of a lot of band-aids in the secondary and on defense. And they continue to try to ban, and right now it's just they're just not in a good place on that defense. So JMO over 3.5. I think there's gonna be a lot of throwing in that game, of course. And I again, how many times we talk about past performances, right? You got to think about that 5 for 143 and a touchdown. Look at that 143, man. That means he's stretching the field. So I do like that a lot. That's another play that again I am all in on. Now, let's talk about getting a little jigsaw crazy. Okay, on these last 15 minutes, let's talk about getting a little jigsaw crazy. When I just so everybody knows, when I do a lot of these things, and again, make sure you're like, subscribing to the channel. If you watch this on replay, make sure you get the free Discord. It's there. Obviously, it's there so you can use it, so we can talk. And I'm not hiding in the fact that I don't want to live on social media. I honestly hate Twitter, X, whatever. I hate it. I hate that I'm on it. I hate it. I do. It's just like I don't know, man. Like I don't want to be dug into my phone all day long, scrolling through things that I don't need to look at or see or hear. And like I don't really agree with everybody's opinion. And I'm being honest. So for me, the Discord thing is pretty cool because then I can put all the information there and I don't have to get it out there on on that social media monster, right? I mean, everybody and their grandma's throwing pics out every single day. And listen, good for them, man. Honestly, like what I will say though is I was talking to a couple of people like, how do you do it? How do you do this? How do you do that? I just said, yo, man, just get different. Just get different. And speaking of different, let's go jigsaw crazy right here. Look at this jigsaw crazy 5 leg 2253 parlay right here. And this is not touchdowns. This is all a yardage parlay. I like this a lot. And again, bet the single bets. I put a unit on every single one of these single bets, and I also round robin them at 4 or 5, and I also parlayed it. I really like these 5 plays. So these are my 5 single plays that I really like. My favorite plays. Okay, and I'm gonna put them all together like I always do and have a little jigsaw crazy parlay. But I'm also, like I said, I'm gonna bet them each for a unit on the single bets. Let's go, Trey Benson over 34.5 rushing. All you need to do, rewind our talk back to why we think Trey Benson again is one of my values right here when it comes to DFS at 4,600. Okay. So because of that, I love Trey Benson. This again, only over 34.5. Like he's gonna have multiple opportunities. And even if this game gets out of hand a little bit, he's even gonna have more opportunities because they'll probably put James Conner ride the pine and ride Trey Benson. So I do like that number a lot. Now, let's go to the next one. And this is a different one. So the Saints last week showed one thing I know about Kellen Moore was when he was in Philadelphia, he definitely likes to throw the ball. He had to adjust to our strength, which was the offensive line and running the football. That wasn't easy for him. And I gave him all the props in the world because he did it. Okay. He did. He did it. And because he did it, now he got his head coaching job. And now he's going to change it up a little bit because now he's like, I want to throw the ball. The only problem is he has Spencer Rattler. Okay. He has Spencer Rattler. Um, I like Raheed Shaheed in this game from a yardage standpoint. He had 9 targets in that game. 9. And I think he'll continue to get targets. So he's going to push for 7, 8, 9, and maybe even double digits on certain games. And I think this could be one of them because it showed that he can get long. Now, it was a rare only 5.5 yards per catch. That's not like him. Okay. But he was targeted 9 times and caught 6 of them. And he only had 33 yards. It was a weird game last week. Okay. And again, week 1. I think Rashid Shaheed can actually get this on 2 catches. Very, very simple. Right. I do. These are 2 20-yard plus catches. I like the way you can actually spread that 49ers defense out a little bit. And I just, again, even though it's Spencer Rattler, I do think that Kellen Moore is smart enough. He's shown this to be able to allow even a Spencer Rattler to make some friggin' noise. So again, give me Rashid Shaheed. I know everybody's gonna jump on the Jawan Johnson wagon. I get it. I understand it. Okay. I do. I understand it. But again, I have to think that Shaheed that is really going to come into play in this game. He only had one target in the first half. But again, I'm not worried about that. Right. I'm not. The one thing I will say is volume. This goes to volume again. He was on for 85 plus percent of the snaps, 85.3 to be exact. And the reason why I tell you that he's going to have a lot of opportunities to get that over 38, over 39 and a half. So I definitely like it. My man Vegas checking in. What is up, Vegas? TJG. Been a while, buddy. Been a minute, man. Hopefully you're getting some good fantasy talk here, the sports betting talk right here on the Alternative Edge. I appreciate, as always, OG sub right there. Loving every minute of it. Checking in. Now here's a new one. And my boy Javon's in here, but Javon's gonna like this because he really turned me on to Devontae Turpin, and which is the number 3 receiver for it's not it's not Tolbert, it's not Jalen Tolbert, it's Devontae Turpin. Okay, I really like Devontae Turpin in this offense. I think that George Pickens is going to wear himself thin. I do. I think people are just gonna be like, this dude, I'm done. I'm done with him. I do. I really think that I it sucks. I get it, but they utilize Turpin in different areas. And I do think that they will continue to do that. He only had 2 targets. I get it. Right? I understand it. And they only went for 18 yards. But based on the way this game should go, okay, and that's what it's always based on, right? And based on, do we really are we really all in on George Pickens? Oh, and by the way, Dak Prescott absolutely owns the New York Giants. Owns the New York Giants. And we go home. So I like this, man. I like I said, I think it is a lot differently. So I definitely like this play a lot. And then let's go with the guy who everybody told me wasn't gonna get the volume. The guy that everybody told me wasn't gonna be the guy. That's Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers, a healthy Zay Flowers is literally the best thing that our man Lamar Jackson could ever ask for. Zay Flowers, I mean, this guy he continues to go all over. He does. And I I don't want to hear about the Cleveland defense factor. I just don't. Like I said, if you go back and rewind, I'll say it again, Lamar Jackson with his speed and his athleticism will open up more space for the receivers than Joe B could on that defense in Cincinnati. Very, very, very simple. Zay Flowers, he had himself a day, man. 9 targets, 7 catches, 143 yards. Right? He even had obviously he scored, but he even had 2 touches in the backfield for some rushes. So they're going to continue to utilize him all over. Right? There's no competition with Rashad Bateman and DeAndre Hopkins. Like they're all luxury pieces. They're all supporting cast pieces for Zay Flowers. And going into this game again, I'm looking at it and I'm saying 61 and a half is even half of 143. Like I firmly believe Zay Flowers will always be hovering around that 70 to 80 number every single week. So when I'm going to get it under 70, I am absolutely in. So over 61 and a half is Zay Flowers. And let's wrap it up on the Jigsaw Crazy Parlay. And let's go with one of the elder statesmen, one of the veterans, right? One of the veterans that showed that he had a little pep in his step. He actually looked pretty good. And that's going to be no other than J.K. Dobbins. Goes into Indy. That team goes into Indy. And here's what I will say too. Sean Payton's not dumb, right? Sean Payton's not dumb. he saw Bo Nix struggle a little bit. And, knowing that, I think that even elevates J.K. Dobbins the opportunity to get even more work in the running back position. Okay. So if you look at JK last week, he got 16 carries, 63 yards. He only averaged 3.9. He was under 4. But I'm going to tell you, man, I do. I think this could be easily a 16 to 18 carry day for JK. And if he got 63 on 16, he's going to get 75 to 80 if he gets close to 20. So I'm all in on the crazy parlay right here, man. I am all in on the jigsaw crazy parlay. Again, we go Trey Benson over 34 and a half rushing, over 39 and a half Rashid Shaheed receiving, over 18 and a half Devontae Turpin receiving, over 61 and a half for Zay Flowers, and then over 60 and a half of rushing for J.K. Dobbins. We got a couple questions. Let's get my man Japan's asking for fantasy. Do I play Shakir or Odunze? That's a good one, man. That's a good one. I'm going to be honest. I'm probably going to be, and again, this has nothing to do with numbers, Japan. I'm not giving you numbers. I'm just going by looking at the way Caleb Williams looked, which was very uncomfortable. He was very uncomfortable, whether it was the pass rush, whether it was the new playbook, whatever it was. And Ben Johnson, I will say this: Ben Johnson has to do better. And what I mean by that is the sideline expressions of Ben Johnson are not good. And he's a young coach. He's a first-year head coach. He has to learn that, people are watching you. So when you're rolling your eyes or looking in disgust, your players see that, right? So to me, he already knows it's not working early on, and they're going to have to continue to work on. So we work in progress. So because of that, I can't buy into Odunze yet. I got to see consistency week to week. I know Shakir is going to be consistent. I know he's going to be consistent from a PPR perspective. Okay, so that's my take on that, Japan. That's why I would go Shakir all day. Food says, what's your take on Marvin Mims? Now, Foods, here's what I will say on Marvin Mims. That passing game as a whole, just it didn't look the way we expected it to look, right? It's always going to be Cortland Sutton and everybody else. But the one thing about it is Sean Payton likes to get creative. So that's why you saw Troy Franklin get involved. You even had Trent Sherfield get involved. So the biggest thing that I have when you ask about Marvin Mims is I didn't like the lack of target share and snap count that he got in that game. And I have a feeling it's going to be like that moving forward. Remember, they did bring in Evan Ingram, even though he got hurt in that game, but they brought in Evan Ingram for another high profile catch guy, right? So they have to feed. So Marvin Mims, the thing that scares me about him is number one, I don't think he should be on a roster in fantasy football for season long unless you have really deep leagues. But from a DFS perspective, it's all going to be about the home run now, right? It's all going to be about the home run. Like he's going to have to give you a home run in order for him to cash in. So that's it for tonight, everybody. A great show. Again, we're at our hour. Again, my man Philly checking in. Oh, here we go. This is these are the blocks that you got to do, right? You got this idiot checking in. And again, yes, Sean. Sean says, and Knicks looked horrible. Exactly. He looked terrible. That's why I like the J.K. Dobbins play over 60 and a half rushing, Sean. That's my biggest reason why I like J.K. this week because when you're a veteran coach, right? Sean Payton knows, and I know Japan said Tony knows ball. Sean knows ball. Sean knows ball. So how do you get Sean? You know this. How do you get your quarterback comfortable again? Short passes and more running. So what's going to happen? More J.K. Dobbins, right? It's just the way it's going to be this week. I really feel like it's going to be more J.K. this week, more of a simplified approach. right? More of a simplified approach. So now that could work in the benefit of guys like Marvin Mims because if they throw a couple wide receiver screens, right? Some bubble screens out there. When he takes it to the house or he takes it for a long catch, maybe it helps. But yeah, I hope Sean he doesn't revert back to what we've seen in the very beginning of Bo Nix. So I hope he doesn't take a step backwards. As always, everybody checking in, much appreciated. 100%. We'll throw the list. Japan will put this in Discord too. He's got a little UFC bet, and like he says, a little jigsaw crazy. I love it because we all got to get a little jigsaw crazy at times, right? We all got to get a little jigsaw crazy at times. Japan, do me a favor, make sure you put that. I know you will, but put that in the Discord as well. So everybody knows. Hop in a free Discord. Very, very simple. Hop in there. If you have any questions in there, that's where I'll be. I check it often. Okay, I do. I check it often. I check that more than I check social media. So that's why I'm trying to get people to dive more into the Discord. And as always, man, make sure you like and subscribe the show. And then again, last but not least, again, BetQL. If you are if you're not a BetQL subscriber yet, you want to get into BetQL. Like I said, everything's on one page. I think you really, really like it. You also have the Roto QL, okay, for my DFS guys. You go to BetQL, and again, the link is in the description. And if you use the code Jigsaw, you'll get 15% off of any monthly subscription of 2 or more, or 50% off a one sport annual pass. Very, very simple. The same thing goes for the Roto QL, which is the DFS partner, okay, which I am involved into the code works for both. And that's where you're going to get your optimizers. That's where you get your projection miles, just like I used to do with Win Daily. It's the same thing. This is a different partner, a little different. And I'll be honest with you, I'm learning the system and I'm learning it also all myself. My man Sean my man Sean, I appreciate it, Sean. Like I said, if you ever have any questions, let me know. And I wanted to address what Sean said at the end here as we sign out, where he says, appreciate your takes. I do. I really appreciate that because I'm a little different. I've said that before. I don't I beat to my own drum. I'm a little different. Um, I'm very transparent in my methodologies, and I just do things a different way. I look at things differently. And I will tell you that more than half of the time, it translates into some really good plays and some really good tickets that we get to cash as a community. Does it happen all the time? No. Okay, it doesn't. But if you follow, and like Sean asked me last week, right? When Sean, we had two 3-leg parlays last week, and Sean knows this, quarterback and running back. Okay. We had two of them, and we hit 2 out of 3 legs on both of them. Both of them, we didn't get one. And Sean had asked me last week because I was preaching to everybody, bet the single bets. And I explained to him, and he asked me, like, are you putting full units on them? Are you putting, like, how are you working it? And I explained the system. Okay. I explained it. And I know myself that I look at that's 4 out of 6 bets that I hit. Didn't hit the parlay, but I was ahead of the game. I'm not saying that you go a different capper or a different better or whoever, and they'll give you a different scenario. Everybody's different, right? That's what's great about this thing. Everybody's different. But the thing is, who cares as long as you win more than you lose, right? You're not going to win all the time. The problem is people expect to win all the time. People expect to win every single week, right? Yeah, you can win every week, but the percentage of bets that you win may be lower than you expect. So I just look at things differently. I always say it's the eye test. I watch these games. I constantly watch the film. I am an old school junkie. I really am. So a lot of my takes and a lot of my information come from what I'm watching, not from what I'm reading. Meaning I'm not looking at pie charts. I'm not looking at these crazy analytics. What I'm doing is saying, man, there's no way this guy's not getting the ball. Right? Like it's like AJ Brown this week. Like there's no way. We already know that. It's very simple. So then you take that to your betting room, and then you just have to figure out in your mind how many times you think he's going to get the ball. Now there's no Dallas Goddard now. He's been ruled out. So we have already watched it. And again, here comes the football acumen, right? If you watched last year when Dallas Goedert wasn't in, Grant Calcaterra, he's not gonna command a lot of targets. He's more of a blocking tight end. So those targets you already know aren't going to go to a tight end too. They're going to go to AJ Brown. They're going to go to Devontae Smith, right? They're going to go to Saquon Barkley. They're going to go to Jahan Dotson. That's where those targets are going to go. But how do you know that? It's by watching the friggin' game. Very, very simple. As always, Tony Jigsaw Cotillo, the alternative edge, powered by BetQL. And again, all on the Tony Cotillo Show YouTube page. So make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you jump into Discord. Any questions you have, pop in Discord. Let me know. I'll be dropping more videos probably tomorrow for a couple DFS takes. But for the most part, I'll be in Discord dropping more bets and then also let you know how you get involved with the plus money prop train as well. Everybody be safe, be well, and I'll catch you back here.